everyone, and welcome to our first official live broadcast here on the Twitch channel for Tabletopia, the digital platform for board games on Kickstarter now until September 24th. That's right, this Thursday. Tabletopia is committed to bringing you the most sophisticated virtual gaming table experience stocked full of great licensed board games new and old. I'm your host, David, and you may have seen me on my Twitch channel, Now Boarding, the all-board game channel where we bring you, the viewers, right to the virtual table through tutorials, playthroughs, and even games with all of you. And do we have a special treat for you today, as you may have just seen on screen, right above me and right in the game itself, a digital game day with designers and developers right now. I'm honored to be joined by Jamey Stegmeier right above me, the president and co-founder of Stonemaier Games. Hi, Jamey.
Hey, David. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. All right. So for those in the audience who may be getting into the greater world of board gaming, would you mind telling us a bit more about yourself and the game that we'll be playing here today?
Sure. Yeah, this game is actually, it's become the foundation of my company. I run a company called Stonemaier Games, and our first game on Kickstarter over just a little, actually 3 years ago, it would have been live 3 years ago, was our Kickstarter campaign for Viticulture. And since then, I've designed and published a game called Euphoria, an expansion to Viticulture called Tuscany.
Oh.
And I published, but not designed, a game called Between Two Cities that's starting to come out right now.
Awesome. Sorry about that. I had a quick little audio issue. We did catch the back end of that, but essentially, Jamey just mentioned that this has become the foundation of his company, essentially. I mean, this, he started out with Viticulture, and through Kickstarter efforts, I mean, there's been also, the expansion Tuscany?
Tuscany, yeah, and Euphoria, which is a completely different game in a different world, and Between Two Cities.
So there's a question actually out in chat right now that's actually pretty interesting, because I know, this has been a whole experience to get Viticulture into the system. Do you think we might be able to see some of the other games in the catalog some point?
I would love to have that happen. Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
I'm fascinated by this format.
Well, we got some demand for some Euphoria out there, so that's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
For those of you on YouTube, watching us on YouTube, we're actually broadcasting live on twitch.tv/Tabletopia. So we're actually having your live feedback right now as we play the game. So I was curious, we'll be starting a game of this, show everyone how to get a game going, which Kickstarter backers can actually play this very demo right now. We'll talk about board games, Tabletopia, and of course have some fun. Now, what I'm really curious about, very first question is, you get logged in, and I wanted to know what your first impression was when you first saw your game here, set up digitally, ready to play the moment you log in.
I was I was amazed, honestly, just because it looks so good.
Doesn't it?
3D format, it really does, and I didn't know what to expect. I've seen the game in other formats, where people try to convert it digitally, and there's some good implementations out there, but this one is the best that I've seen.
What actually brought this to my attention is, you see all those geek chic tables and everything there, and what got my attention is looking at the artwork just seamlessly burnt into the table here.
Yeah, that's cool. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, all the scroll work, and these player mats aren't mats at all. They're actually etched into the table, so the different player cans, they'll actually be arranged at different areas around the table.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm curious, take an average game off of your shelf, or even a copy of Viticulture, and especially for Viticulture, it doesn't take that long. But say you take it from the box, you got to shuffle all the cards. You get the you get your Pinots that we'll actually cover here. These wonderful Pinot cards here, separated out, and a random card, everyone's drawn, and components all nice and lined up. How long do you think that would normally take?
I would say about 10 minutes to get it. If I wanted to set it up exactly like this on my table, it would definitely be about 10 minutes. While this is instantaneous.
Exactly. In fact, we got the start right here, right now. So I'll be playing the green player on the left-hand side. Jamey has the blue player, as you can see on the top right-hand corner, and control the blue hand over here on the blue side. So we can actually start things off right now. So if you guys got other questions for Jamey, please feel free to pipe up in the chat, and let's just talk and have some fun. So the first thing that we can do, we already have the cards laid out in front of us for our hands, and our hands, you can see there's nothing in front of us. Well, we'll change that. First off, we have these summer cards, these summer visitor cards. Let's take this into our hand now by just grabbing this by click and hold, and then drag it down to the bottom of the screen until you see a highlight of your player color, and it'll suck right into your hand.
Oh, so I can see that, but you can't.
Exactly. All I know is that you have one object in your hand.
Nice.
Yeah. And so the vines, do we also take those into hand as well? Right?
Those are
Or
in
public
our
info.
hands, yeah.
Yeah. So we can take those into there too. So yeah, so while you're dragging down what looks like into my hand, it's actually your own personal area that I cannot see.
Okay.
The other nice thing we have with this too is that if you want to actually set up a few camera angles, we can do so here. Using the numbers across on the top of your keyboard, we can actually set up predefined camera angles, and we can probably even program this too into the game if you like. One of the things I've done for the folks at home is that if I press the number 2, I get a zoomed in look at the order of play on the right hand side of your board. So if you want, you can actually do that yourself by just sliding over to the right hand side of your game board. Use your scroll wheel to kind of get a nice look at the, you know your turn order, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But what you can do is then right click, and at the, I would say, 5 o'clock position is set camera view in the context menu. And as long as you click it to the appropriate number, whenever you press that number, you'll get snapped right back to that camera view.
Very cool. Okay, so I could zoom in maybe on the whole board and set something just for that, and then set something for my player mat.
Exactly. And that's actually the couple views that I have for everyone. I have a closer zoom of the turn order for everyone. I have a zoom in of the summer area, the winter area, and each of our respective player boards by just pressing some numbers.
Right, that way you can pay attention to what the other players are doing. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Okay, so one of the big things about doing these kind of virtual game days is actually going through the start of a game, because a lot of people might not be familiar with it. With this wealth of choice. I mean, thankfully, you only started with just a couple cards to work through. But they might be a little intimidated at first about what they should do first. So, kind of walk us through what a player should be thinking when they're first playing Viticulture and maybe their first moves in a game.
Yeah, so Viticulture, at the beginning of the game, you don't really have to make any choices off the bat in the core game, the base game like this. So the easiest way to start out is kind of to accept that you're not going to understand the whole game in the first year of the game, but that to kind of just try out a couple different things. And the game is broken down into different seasons to help facilitate that. And I saw you just did something clever. I guess you moved the start player token over to me. So that is the one thing that's determined at the beginning of the game. You'll randomize the start player. Right.
Typically what we would normally do, and we can actually facilitate this with like a randomized bag we could add to this, but we can, you would, I believe, take the little roosters in your hand, shake them up, and take one.
Right. Yep.
Awesome. Well, you are our guest, so absolutely you can go first. So in choosing turn order. Or let me go first too. Whatever you want.
Well, yeah, I'm the guest, but I'm also the designer, so I'll let you choose first.
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to crush me, but that's okay, because that's why I like playing these board games. It's the experience. So, yeah. I'm green player, and I have a few choices to make. We'll cover the elements as we get into these. So right now I'm trying to determine when I want to go in the turn order. Basically, if he plays above me, he'll be able to go first. If he plays below me, he'll go last. Why would you want to go first or last in the turn order? Because of all these potential benefits that we can do. We can get more vines to grow. We can get these purple cards, which are wine orders, to be able to fulfill those to earn victory points and more money. We can just take up a straight-up lira, and this is in Italy, of course, so we're running off of the lira. We also have, we can get a summer or a winter visitor card, so more powerful cards in our hand. Straight-up get a victory point, or more workers. I still want to see what your first move is, so actually, I think I'm going to just take another worker right now.
Great.
So I'm going to put that right there.
And viewers will notice that David put it on top of the 7 because when we eventually pass from summer to winter, he'll slide that rooster over just to designate that he has passed. It's kind of a visual cue. Yeah, so you've given me a bevy of options here to go before you. I know what I have in hand, but you don't. So I will go. And we're playing a 2-player game, so only the far left action space is open. So we're not going to get those bonuses on the middle action spaces.
Right.
I'll see if I can maybe get lucky and plant something. So I'm going to draw a card.
Okay. Drawing a vine. Now, the cool thing is, so let's set that back for just a moment. Yeah. Now, what's really neat about this is that sometimes, like, well, what happens, like, I don't want anyone to see what's being drawn. Well, the cool thing is, depending on the game, you can either take a card or draw a card. Well, we've been able to actually program it so that a card can go directly into your hand. If you actually right-click the deck,
okay,
And at the bottom left, you'll see draw, a little hand of cards. And you can draw one right to your hand.
Very clever.
Click and click, and boom, it's immediately there, and I will have never seen it.
Nice.
Okay.
Great. So that's, in Viticulture, that's all we do in the spring. Was there any other feature you wanted to mention for the Tabletopia?
No, that was it. I mean, it's just that easy.
Great. Well, we'll move on to the summer, so if we go down and look at our player mats here, you can see that David right now has 3 workers that he can use over the course of this entire year, and I have 3 workers myself. I have 2 regular workers, and I have 1 grande worker. The grande is, well, we'll show you what the grande ability does in a second, but for now, I'm just going to choose one of my workers, and let's see, I'm holding it. I want to see if I can actually switch to the, okay, let's see. So I need to put him on one of the leftmost action spaces. The other action spaces aren't available right now.
Right.
And I would like to plant something this year. So I first need to build a structure. So I'm going to go here, and I want to build my my trellis. So my trellis is this one with the little, yep. And so I'll put the trellis over here, and I need to pay the cost of the trellis, which is 2 lira. So I have these 3 lira down here. Let me know if I do any of this incorrectly.
No, you're doing it perfectly.
Great. All right, and then I am done my turn.
Okay. So he's already built the structure. He might even play the Pinot. Well, let's see here. What do I want to do? So I have something fun in hand as well, and I kind of want to get on this action too. So I think I'm going to take my worker and play a summer card. So right here we can play a summer card. Notice again, we're not using the deeper shaded circles because those are used in multiplayer games. So it allows me to take one action, in this case, play a summer card. So what I'm going to be playing is the blacksmith. You can hit spacebar, or you can use the Z key for zooming. The spacebar will actually make a bigger picture of whatever card or element that I'm using. And in this case, it's the blacksmith, where I can build a structure at a 2 lira discount. So for a 2 lira discount, well, I have a Pinot in hand, and he knows this, so I'm just going to build my trellis for free.
Very clever. All right, so I have now the option of placing another worker in the summer, or I can pass to the winter.
Right.
But I still have more stuff I want to do in the summer, so I'm going to take another regular worker, and I am going to plant this Pinot that I am now eligible to plant because I built that trellis. And I can build it on any of my 3 fields. The only requirement for fields, if we look at it here, is that the maximum vine value of each field is 6. So right now the vine value of, say, this middle field that I chose is 2. Just 1 plus 1 is 2 total.
Great. We already got a couple questions filtering in, which is great. Mostly about the system, like how easy is it to zoom in to see the cost of things on the player board. It's actually quite easy. If I actually just press one number over here, we can get a zoom in on the player board, so we can easily see how much everything costs, like the cottage for 4 lira, the windmill for 5, and other things too. And are there visual cues to let you know that cards cannot be seen by your opponent? Essentially, anything suspended in space in your hand is basically not visible by the opponent. Those are the visual cues that you have. It's just that if it's floating out there, in the middle of your play area, that I can move around the camera and it's moving with me. And the cool thing is, it's not limited to cards. In the Tabletopia system, we can also do this for meeple and tiles. So when we get games like Keyflower, for instance, we're able to take like all of those into hand, because normally you would use like a little screen to kind of hide all your information. So if you're getting more involved games, so for game designers, for instance, that would rely on a screen to hide everything, you can actually get away with that by using the hand system as well. Okay, so you just planted your plant. Now, if I wanted to go and plant as well, I would need to use a grande worker. Because this the space is used up, and these 2 other spaces aren't used in a 2-player game. So I would actually have to set him over here. But you know what? I'm going to hold off for just a moment. And in fact, what I'm going to do is take my temporary worker, which I earned from this going 7th in the turn order, and I'm actually going to give a tour of basically absolutely nothing on my winery right now, so I can get 2 lira.
Nice. I'm guessing you're planning to make another worker this year.
Perhaps.
We'll And for me, I am at this point, I am ready to pass. So I'm going to zoom in here, and so I'm saving my last worker for the winter, and I'm going to show David that I passed. I'm moving. And David, this is a question I actually have. If I'm playing with a random opponent at a certain point, will the Skype voice capability be there, or is it just text?
That's actually part of the beta process right now, is that they're actually developing their in-house voice client. I'm glad you asked that, because right now, I mean, voice is, I think, an absolute critical component. Video would be nice to have, and that'll get down the line, but honestly, voice is key. Communicating lots of information easily. Right now, we do have some other indicators. What we can do is right-click on our player icon, and we can actually set a text status to show that we're passed or we're ready or that kind of thing. What I love about your game, though, is that we already have built into the game system itself a way to indicate that you're done.
Right.
But in other games which might not have that mechanism, there are ways that be able to communicate that to your opponent right now. But again, yes, at the moment through the beta, until the voice chat is ready, I highly encourage people to use third-party clients like Skype that we're using today. But then going forward, it'll all be in Tabletopia by itself and for no additional cost.
That's awesome.
Cool. So, yes, you were correct that I do want to do some training. And now, looking at the player board, I noticed that, well, you don't have... Oh, and we never did mention it, but there is a friendly variant of the game where you can't really block spaces unless you can take the action.
Right, and that's a core rule of the game. We actually switched the variant, so the variant is the unfriendly version of it.
So actually, which should be noted that this is actually the second edition of the game, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I know this was asked a few times, and I've seen a little bit on Board Game Geek when this got brought up about Tabletopia and Viticulture. Think we might be able to see some elements of Tuscany down the road? We
will, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we recently came out with the idea that we're putting out an essential edition of Viticulture. I'm going to be sending the files to everybody at Tabletopia so they can incorporate those. But I think they're going to incorporate them slowly. So maybe they'll throw in the mamas and papas at some point. I'll throw in some more visitor cards just to not put everything out there at once, but slowly increase what people can do here.
Got it. Oh, that's awesome news. I mean, I'm so hyped up for it because I just played through a few games of Viticulture, and I'm already chomping at the bit after seeing the reviews on Tuscany. I'm like, man, I can't believe I missed that, and now I don't have to because I can get it virtually too. All right, so I passed. I was going to try to do something sneaky, or what I thought is sneaky, and it probably wasn't. So I'm just going to stop right now, though, before I'm ahead, and I think that at this point, we can then move over into the fall.
Yeah, so in the fall... It's not really designated here on the board. It's designated right over here where it says fall, draw one visitor card. So in wake up order, each of us gets to draw our choice of a summer visitor card or a winter visitor card. And, I'm going to go for a winter.
Great minds think alike. That's exactly what I was thinking as well. So I'll just take that right into my hand as well. What did I get?
All right, and now the turn order kind of resets for the winter, so I'm still the first player in the winter, and I will use my last worker. So I have the Grande worker here. Maybe we'll show you the special ability for the Grande worker. Actually, David kind of already showed it to you, but I'm just going to use him as a regular worker to harvest my one field, because I like to get grapes aging as early as possible. So when you harvest a field in Viticulture, you gain one grape token for each of the colors that are on your vine cards. I only have one vine card on this field, so I'm just going to gain a red grape token worth 1. I'll put that over here on my crush pad, and I'll gain a white grape token also valued at 1.
Fantastic.
And that's it for me.
Okay. So, first things first, he guessed right. I am going to pay 4 lira, and we'll zoom in right here, to train one worker. It should be noted that, besides coughing up, so one thing I kind of like to do, and the cool thing is you get to play your way, and one thing I like to do is just kind of keep extra money on the side, because as I gain and lose money, it might be just a little quicker for me to gain the money back from the left side than go to the bank.
Nice.
You can do whatever you like in the game. That's cool. At your table. So what I'm going to do is just toss out 4. It's away from my coffers now to gain 1 worker. And the worker goes right here just to indicate that he's not usable right away. He's not going into my available workers. He'll be available next year. It takes a little while to train people.
And what's cool about that, about this Tabletopia system, is that that's that's the same thing you do in the real viticulture game. There's no programming here. It's just kind of, you can plop them down wherever you want, even if it doesn't necessarily, if the board doesn't really see any of these pieces. We see them, which I think is pretty cool.
Right. I mean, and that's one thing about what people have been kind of talking about. This is a virtual board game experience and not like an iOS app or anything like that, which actually provides a couple cool things. One, you don't have to pay a bunch of programmers to actually program the rules enforcement and get things to go in the right place. And, you try to play someone in the summer and they fling over to a winter space and you got to solve all those issues. It does mean that people need to be a little familiar with the game, but then that makes it a little bit more of a personal experience where we in the community can kind of come out and show people how the games are played and just make it a more inclusive experience. Like we can actually host our own virtual demo tables like we would at a convention for you.
That is really neat.
So
go
ahead.
Yeah, David has one worker left, but technically I need to show him that I'm done. So I'm just going to, I have no workers left. I'm going to move my rooster up so that I have nothing else I can do this year.
Great. Now, let's see here. Still debating where I really want to go with this. So I think I am trying to get a jump on things. Now, there are very few things I actually can do in winter. I did just get a card, however. It's not quite as powerful as it would be right now, but I am going to see if I can get creative. I am going to play a winter card, and I'm going to be playing the Queen. Give each opponent one card from your hand and gain 2 lira per card from the bank. So I am going to give you another Pinot Grape.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Not really a wise move, but I am going to try something different. That's the cool thing about
Sure.
this game plays. So I get 2 from the bank, and that'll end my turn, so I will back off over here. And as Jamey's shown, he's given me the first player marker. In the game, you would be going counterclockwise around the board.
Right.
But we do have year end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do a few things at the end of the year. So I made some, I harvested my field to have some grape tokens, so I'm going to age each of these grape tokens to the 2 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Then we will collect residual payments. That usually happens after we filled some wine orders. We're going to discard down to 7 cards, which I don't think either of us has to worry about right now. And we'll rotate the first player. And we also have to take our workers back.
Perfect. So one of the questions out there is like, hey, do you have something like a coin or a token that you can actually show like victory points? Like right here in Viticulture, we easily see victory points down at the bottom of the board here. And actually, we didn't actually mention that it's basically the end of the game is triggered when someone has earned 20 victory points. Now, you notice we can go actually negative and we can go a little above because people can be scoring points right up into the end of the game.
Right.
But there are actually smart counters in this game already. Tokens that you can actually place on the board that you can actually adjust the numerical value right on the token itself, and it will reflect that to everyone on the board.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's some neat things. So some people are actually, hey, maybe you could implement this, and actually they are there. So do note that. Although one person was just like, oh, there's no glass tokens for the counters. Maybe we can get that worked on. Someday.
I'm guessing they may have tried to do it, and it just, like, visually it's a clear token, so digitally it may not be represented all that well.
Right. Well, maybe we can get something in the future for that as well. I mean, come on, we need the game perfect and out there right now, and honestly, this works great. But yeah, maybe sometime we can have the definitive digital version or something like that.
Right.
Okay. So I'm first player, and where am I going to go? Well, I kind of need something to plant.
That's right, yeah. And actually, you got to take your workers back too, David.
Oh, yes. 1, 2. That's the other thing that is being considered right now is trying to get a recall function actually integrated. That'd be fun.
Interesting. Yeah, that would be cool.
And
all right, so
you
David
go back
is
over
going
here.
first this year. Yeah, you have a heads up on the workers right now, so I'm going to go down here and grab that temporary worker just so I have him.
Great. So now we have our turn order. I'm going to go first this year, and Jamey second. So I'm going to first start off, but oh wait, I need to actually get my card. Let's draw one card. And what do I have to build? Oh, right, it would be that. Okay, well that's okay. So first things first, I am going to build a structure, and for 3 lira, I am going to build an irrigation unit. There we go. And now I can build pretty much any plant any vine in the game.
That's right. Yeah. I'm running low on, well, I am low on money, but I kind of want to play this summer visitor card. I'm going to play the patron.
Ooh.
Oh.
Nice.
So can you see this card right now?
Yeah, so now that you put it on the table, it's visible for me to see, and then I can just hit spacebar and get a zoom in of this, and it says to draw 1 wine order card and 1 winter visitor card. Perfect.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so at first it was on the backside, so I couldn't see it.
Yeah, it was a little funky there.
All right, so I'm going to draw that. Now, say, David, say you're playing against me, and say I draw the wrong card and I don't realize it, but you do. Is there a way for you to tell me, hey, Jamey, you messed that up?
Right
Or
now,
just by text?
what's being considered right now is to be able to get an action log. So it would show up in our bottom right hand area where we can normally do text stuff. It will actually show up as a line item, like player such and such has drawn 1 wine order card.
Oh, okay.
So you would be able to then I'm an accountant, so you can audit your other players' actions. And actually, while teaching the game is actually why I do encourage actually physically taking the card off. Not only is it more intuitive and to pull it into your hand, but then everyone sees what's going on rather than just right-clicking and taking something too. So there are different ways, but as you get the power users at the table, right, then you can just use the quick shortcuts to get stuff into hand and that kind of thing. So cool. So you did that play to get 1 wine order, 1 winter visitor. So now I got this, I will try to sweep in here and plant before Jamey can, at least with a normal worker, and I am going to plant some Merlot. Merlot here actually requires an irrigation unit to be actually installed first, and it provides a 3-value red grape when harvested. All right.
Yes. Yeah. So I have 3 workers left that I could use this year, and I am low on money, so I think I am going to give a vineyard tour and gain 2 lira.
Okay. We got some designers with us. We got some people from other board game services and shows. I mean, this is awesome. Like, someone's working on their rule book right now while watching. That's the cool thing. We can turn this into a spectator sport.
Right.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I want more vines. I'll take that.
All right, so we've covered up all the really good spaces. So we could use our grande workers here. But I think I'm gonna pass.
I'll do so as well. Great.
All right, so which visitor card do you want to draw in the winter or in the fall?
Winter is coming, so it's going to be a winter card as well. I like my summer cards, but I'm definitely going to do this.
I'll go with summer.
That didn't quite work out as I wanted. Okay. So we've drawn our cards into hand, and now we can move on to the winter.
Right.
And let's see. Oh man, we already got the designers of Tabletopia in here too, and they're already answering tons of questions about getting, like, in fact, what we just talked about, those transaction logs with what's going on integrated as well. Yeah. Okay. Right from the designer's mouth. So I'm going to go and harvest, and that means I get to get a rank 3 red grape onto board.
Nice. Very good. Now, I'm going to need to harvest too, but I have my grande. Actually, okay, I have a nice visitor card that's going to let me harvest here. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to play the Harvest Expert, which is actually the model here is a friend of mine. So I get to harvest a field. Yeah, she's in my gaming group. So I'll harvest my field again, get a 1 and a 1, and I also have an option here. I can either draw a vine card or I can pay 1 to build a yoke, which is kind of a handy thing to do in a 2-player game because we only have 1 shared action space for harvesting. So I am going to pay that 1 to build a yoke. And a yoke just creates a private action space on my player mat. You can see it right here, where I can now place a worker there whenever I want to uproot, which people rarely do. You really need to do that, or harvest a field.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Actually, I should have actually just note I passed because I have nothing else to do, and you have 1 worker left.
I do have a grande worker left. I don't quite have enough money to make a worker this year, which would be ideal. I will... I like to draw a lot of wine orders early in the game to see what I need to target in terms of wine. So I'm going to go up here and draw a wine order card.
And cards can also be used as currency because a lot of other card effects may actually depend itself on other, having cards or turning in cards or that kind of thing too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. More cards is always good. All right. Oh yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll take this guy back.
Please
and
do.
back
So
and-
let's do our year-end bookkeeping. And so one person in chat noted that they like how the pieces snap to the right areas in the board, and I have to agree.
I like the shadow too, because you can
Oh,
lift
yeah.
the off the board and you can still see.
So let me show you a neat trick when you're actually moving multiple pieces. So one thing that we can do is box select, much like we can in Windows. We can hold down Shift and select multiple pieces. So let's drag this back, and notice I'm moving both of these pieces at once.
How about
It'll
that?
snap there. So let's actually let you practice this with the white grapes right here. Why don't you box select these two icons using hold Shift, box select, and then drag them to 2 and 3.
How about that? That's really cool.
Got to give you those power user tricks here. I've got to make it worth it for people to come out to see this. Besides seeing and hearing from the designer, of course, I gotta get my work in too, right?
Yeah. Well, it's very
Okay.
intuitive too. That's easy to remember.
Yeah, and that's been like the whole goal, that everything just makes sense. Okay, so we already matured our grapes. We have no wine to mature. Collect residual payments. We haven't even finished an order yet. And we rotated first player. Let's get going. While you decide where you want to go, just want to note to everyone that due to time constraints, that we won't be playing, finishing through a full game of this. Of course, got precious Kickstarters to get run and everything else going on right now. But we'll definitely do live playthroughs with all of you as well at a later date. Get those videos out onto YouTube. But we're gonna get just trying to show you just how a game is played.
All right, so I need to select my wake up order, and you have some workers left on the board that you can take back off.
Yes.
Oh, and I have a temporary worker I need to move. Oh, thank you.
Oh yeah. Actually, I should just take. Oh, I missed my box select. I missed. Okay.
All right, I love these visitor cards because they add a variety of bonuses. So I'm going to take a summer visitor card.
They're so good. Okay. Now, interesting. Right. I got. I'm gonna chance things. I want another vine, and I don't want to waste a summer worker to do so.
Okay.
So I will draw one. Interesting. Okay. So I'm set, and I get to go first. Now, I see you may be answering for another worker at some point, so I think one of the first things I'm going to do is try to make you pay for it. So I'm going to go and give a tour.
Very nice. But what you didn't know, David, was that I have a novice guide.
Do you?
So I get to draw a vine card and get 3 lira. Very
Those
handy.
tour guides, I swear. Well played. Okay. See, you can try to be mean and blocky, but it doesn't always pay off for you. Okay. So I want to get something into the dirt. And I will plant a Pinot. Whoops. I hovered a little too long. So instead of splaying, I stacked them. But there we go. As long as it doesn't highlight, it'll stack instead of turn into a deck.
Right. Yeah,
So
that's
right
handy.
now that's a max. So we're at 5 of 6 in that particular field. So we can't really cram too much more on there. But I'm done with that turn.
All right, now one of the nice things about the yoke is that you can harvest in the summer, which kind of gives you a slight edge. Not an edge, but gets you ahead of the game a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest this field. Actually, David, is this going to be our last year, or are we going to play one more year?
Well, we're at 12:40 right now. It depends on your schedule. We can play through one more if you'd like.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what I would play here. So let's play through one more year after this, since we're kind of
Perfect.
making good pace at this point.
Deal.
So go ahead and harvest this one.
All right.
All right, and I can't harvest that field again this year. That's it for this year for harvesting.
Right.
For me.
Okay. Let's see here. A 1 and 1. Oh, I meant to do something else. Okay, that's fine. What's I gonna do next? I think I am actually going to sell one of my grape tokens. Because I don't have a medium seller right now, I'm kind of cash starved too. I can't really turn these grapes into wine. So by selling this off, and we can look down here, the sale prices of where these grapes are on the crush pad. So I'm going to take 2 lira for selling a level 4 red grape.
Very nice. And I'm going to use my last worker, so I won't get to place any more workers this year. I'm going to put my Grande, I'm going to act as a regular worker and build a structure because, like you, I kind of need a medium seller.
Ah.
So build, so that's 4 lira. I like that you can just toss it up there.
Yep. Got some feedback. Looking for more games from Stonemaier Games on Tabletopia, and cool-looking game pieces should be in there as well. Nice. Thank you very much, Batonov.
All right. So, are you going to take another summer action, David, or are you going to pass?
I am going to pass. Sorry about that. There we go.
Yeah, I am going to pass as well.
Fall, I'll take a summer visitor.
I'm going to take a winter visitor, bringing my hand size to 8, so I'm going to have to discard at the end of this year.
That's the only thing I can see is actually your component count in your hand. Yeah, hand size. Yeah. So, cool. Okay, so now we're in winter, and you have no workers. So what I'm going to do is actually play a winter worker, and I am playing the Jack of all trades. Oh, I love the guy. Choose 2. Harvest 1 field, make up to 2 wine tokens, or fill 1 wine order. Well, I have no wine order, so you know what I'm going to be doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is harvest this field, and that will be a level 4 red grape and a level 1 white grape. Then I get to make up to 2 wine tokens. Unfortunately, I did not think things through, and I don't have a medium cellar. So I'll just make some white wine and kind of tuck my tail and run. And that'll do it for me.
I'm out of workers myself.
All right. I'm going to slide that on over. I'll clean up over here. Let's mature our grapes. Okay. That's the thing. Going first is not always a good thing, because then everyone can place around you for the turn order.
Right.
Come on, everyone. Come on home.
I have one guy on my yoke here. All right, so we'll play one more year here. This will be the last year. We'll see if we can get some points out there.
Yeah, I know, really. And
and actually, I built the medium cellar, but didn't actually put the token.
Oh yeah,
so
to get that out there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm determined to at least get a victory point. So let's see. What am I going to do to be able to pull this off? All right, I think I can. This is so metagamey, but let's try this. I will take my guy and I will go right here.
All right. I will. I'm looking for a specific card. Well, this is a tough call here, but I'm gonna gamble a little bit.
Ooh. All right, we can take our respective cards.
Oh, and actually, I needed actually. In fairness, before I even look at this card, I need to discard a card.
Right.
Because I had too many at the end of the last year.
Got it. So, quick rules question that some people usually have is that can you place a Grande worker where you have taken the spot?
Where, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Grande workers, they don't really look at the other workers that are there.
Right. Yeah, no, we have a couple of misinterpretations by some people at times, and also like some people are like, oh, well, you could take the bonus space even in a 2-player game because it got filled up, and it's just like, no. That's also the reason why you have them, you set them aside in the board game area, is that rather than an actual spot, is because they kind of work outside the rules, sort of, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. Again, intuitive. That's what I like, is a blend of an intuitive UI like this, but also an intuitive game like this to show off as well, because the different things that you do here make a lot of sense to people. Okay, so I get to go first, and the first thing I'm going to do is play right here to get another fine card.
Very nice. And I probably would have done something similar to this if this wasn't the last year, but because it is the last year, I only have winter actions to do, so I'm going to pass.
All right, that actually is a big relief to me, because I'm going to take a Grande worker and draw another vine card. Like, huh? What is he doing? Because I'm now going to play a summer card, and I'm going to auction off all 4 of my cards to earn 2 victory
Nice.
points.
Very
I want
nice.
something on the board at the end of the game. So I'll just discard all of these. So we got... Actually, I think they're all vines that I just...
Yeah, you drew a lot of vine cards.
I did. I was just like, it's the only way that I'm able to do this. So
Yeah.
I'll finally get my 2 victory points.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you, auctioneer. Sold a bunch of grapes for me. And then with one last worker, is the last one, but I think... Do I make a medium seller, or do I even... Actually, you know, I am going to build, but I'm actually going to build a cottage.
Okay.
Those cards are really powerful, and I'm going to see if I can get more out of it by maybe getting some more summer and winter cards, because now I have nothing.
Right.
So, okay, so spend my 4. I'll just batch select all those and toss them aside to build my cottage where I can draw an extra card each fall. All right, well, that does it for me. I'm tapped out.
And you get to draw 2 cards of your choice. either
Right, so I'm going to take
summer, 2 winter, or a mix.
1 and 1. And you cannot look at the cards before you choose. So you can't look at one's like, oh, I got the summer card I need, so now I'll choose
Right.
something else. So I'm just going to take a summer and a winter.
And really, in a platform like this, if that ends up happening, it's okay. The intent of that rule is that it would not to slow down the game by, you know, you're drawing 1 card and then you think about it a while and then you draw another one. It's supposed to be just kind of a quick little thing you do.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're going into the winter. Yeah, I'll draw one more winter.
Yeah, and I'm not going to stop you from playing cards, so go nuts. In
Right,
fact,
yeah,
that's
you're
it. I'm done.
You are done. All right, so I wanted to see if I could fill 2 wine orders, but I can't quite do it.
Aw.
So I need to make some wine. Actually, I'll let you participate a little bit here because I have a winter visitor that will let you do something. So I'm going to play the mentor. So the mentor says all players may make up to 2 wine tokens. That's turning grapes from your fresh pen. Actually, do you have any grapes? Yeah, you have a grape down there.
Yeah, I
So
do.
you can turn a grape into wine, and you can draw. I can draw a vine card or a summer card for each opponent who does this. So you are first in. Yeah, you were still first in wake up order, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
you get to do this first.
And I choose not to because I have no medium seller. I went so hard just to get those 2 points.
Right. Well, you could still. This guy could be devalued down to a 3. It's not going to give you anything because you're only workers, but you could technically do it.
True.
But and of course I'm going to do it. I'm going to move over. I'll move over a 3 red to become a 3 red wine, and I'll move over a 2 white to become a 2 white wine.
Great.
And this guy will get discarded. Again, David is out of workers here, so I have free reign in the winter to do some more stuff. I'll go ahead and fill. Yeah, I think this is best. So I'm going to use my grande up here on this action. Oh, actually, this will be better. Okay. Because I built a. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to. Sorry about that. I'm going to.
It's okay.
Make some more wine. I'm gonna move this 4 over here because I did build the medium cellar, so I can build that or make that 4 value white wine, that 3 value white wine. This is what I was planning on doing. So I'm gonna use the grande up here to play the marketer. The marketer lets me fill a wine order and gain an extra victory point.
There we go, folks.
And the wine order I've been building towards is this guy, so it's a 4-2. So I have to discard. Here, I'll do that batch grab here that you recommended.
Perfect.
Move those over. So I'm done with all that white wine that I made. I get 4 victory points plus the 1 from the marketer. So I'll move this guy up to 5.
Like a quarter of the weight there in one shot.
I'll get 1 residual right there.
Great.
These cards. Is there a quick thing to make these cards discard, or is it a drag?
It's just to drag at the moment. Yes.
Okay.
Mostly because from a programming issue, like it'd be great to do it, but then you'd have to make sure that that particular deck of cards goes to the right discard pile. Yeah. Is it possible? Absolutely. It's just not integrated into this particular game. As simple as just tossing into the discard pile here.
Right.
So okay. Well, dang. Getting worked over. There we go.
Well, and Viticulture is a game where it's tough to really see the full spectrum from just playing a few rounds, because usually a one player might jump ahead, but I might burn all the stuff I have, whereas you might have a bigger long-term plan and you can jump, especially with your cottage now that you have. That's going to get you incremental bonuses for the next probably 3 years, and you might jump way past me by then.
Right. Yeah, no, this is definitely a game where, like, it's not like the rich get richer. It does, though, I would say from my experience, really benefit from people from building infrastructure over taking short-term gains, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, we finished this. Did we say one more year, or is that it? Because I think that was the Deathstroke, I think.
Yeah, I think that was. I'm happy to do another one if you want to.
Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Let's go for
Right.
it. Like, you collect your residual payment.
That's right. Yeah, I get that free lira now.
And improve those grapes. Yeah, you got one heck of a winery going on. I was just hoping, I'm like, let me not have 0 by the end of the game. Okay.
But I also like showing sometimes that like in worker placement games, especially viticulture, where you're not paying, you're not feeding your workers, you're not paying them from year to year. It is possible to play well in viticulture with the minimum of 3 workers. And you haven't even gone all out. You have 4 workers, which isn't that many, and you're doing fine.
Right, and the interesting thing is also some people who've been taking some kind of variance, because if they haven't been blocked in what they were doing, I think someone did it like on the single Pinot Noir vine. They were able to win because they kept like taking tours and using the tasting room, which we haven't even showed off yet.
Yeah.
There are lots of different ways to victory, and you just basically try to find your niche, and just like in actual business, it's just find your niche, push that through. Cool. Okay, so you're first, and you already placed there for a wine order. What do I have here? Could do that. Ooh. That's really tricky. All right. I'm gonna go for an extra worker this turn.
Okay.
All right. After you.
Yeah, so I'm first to act with my small family of workers over here. Let's see, I do have a plan that requires, sometimes I try to backwards plan a little bit in viticulture.
That's quite all right. Yeah.
I need to harvest, I need to fill, yeah. So I'm going to need all my workers again. So I'm going to go ahead and just harvest on my yoke here.
Chat's going, you got a worker down, man down, man down. He's not down, he's just taking a rest from all his hard work on the fields.
If I pick him up, he goes right back up. Yeah.
Get back up.
All right, so I've used my turn to place on that yoke there.
Right. Okay. I need money. I'll take money. Good.
And I will pass to the winter.
Okay. So, next step. Okay. I am going to play an uncertified architect, and even though he's a little dodgy, and yes, I'm even going to sacrifice a precious victory point,
Ooh.
I'm going to build a structure for 3 less. And I choose to... Whoops. Sorry, everyone. I'm going to build a medium cellar. Okay. You already passed, so next step. Let's see here. I will pass, actually.
You'll pass too, okay. So I will draw, since this is the last year, I will definitely draw a winter visitor, and you get to draw 2 cards.
That's right. Oh, no help, but that's okay.
No help, all right.
All right.
I am,
Sorry, thanks.
yeah, I'm acting first here, and I will go ahead and use a winter visitor. I'm going to use the crusher here so I can make up to 4 wine tokens.
Wow.
I'm going to make a... Oh, yeah, I won't be able to do that. Okay. Well, I will make this... actually, I don't think I've aged this guy. I'm trying to think back. Well,
Go ahead and age it. I don't mind.
Either way, this guy is going to get devalued.
Right.
I'll just make the biggest one that I have. So I'll make a 5 up here, and I'll make a a 1 value white down there.
Okay. That's the thing I worry about going to YouTube. They'll be like, "Oh, but you didn't do this," and we'll be open for comments forever. No. Okay, fantastic. So you got that. I am also, let's see here. I'm going to see here 1 and 2 and 3. Yeah. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is harvest, and I'm going to harvest this one set of plants here. So I'm going to get level 4 red and level 1 white. Okay.
Okay. And you can, for people who are maybe learning by watching this, you got a 4 because he added up the 3 red and the 1 red and got 4. Right. You don't get 1 grape per I guess icon on here. You're adding together the red and the white.
Right.
I am going to place my last worker and fill an order. Not quite the one I was hoping to fill, but didn't quite have time here to make the bigger one. So I'm going to fill.
Oh man.
Discard a 3. And discard a 1 and get 1 more residual. Let's see, there we go, 1 more residual.
Making
and
the money.
2 more victory points, yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, let's see here. On my end, I am going to make some wine here, and I'm going to make a level 6 red, which I can do now, and a level 4 red. Then, since you're out, I'm going to use my Grande Worker to actually play a winter card, and I'm going to play the Judge. Discard 1 wine token from your medium or large cellar to gain 2.
Very nice.
So
yeah.
I'm going to ditch my level 4 red. And there we go.
Very good.
Okay, well, boom, and let's just follow through with year end, just for the sake of it, because we do get to show off something. So notice that I have a level 6 wine token in my medium cellar. It cannot mature into a level 7 red wine because I do not have a large cellar. So we just slide everything up here and here. I have no residual payments to take, but Jamey gets 2. There you go.
I do, and that can matter. The tiebreaker in viticulture is money, so it could matter in the last round if you need that extra money.
Yeah, but in this case, I got curb stomp, but that's okay because it was a heck of a good time. So
the
I mean,
physics in this is pretty cool. I didn't even notice it. Like they're just balancing there. That's great.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can't wait if we can actually get stuff like Terra and Meeple City going and just have like big armies of meeples that we can knock over. That'd be really fun someday. But enough about other games. So we're kind of coming out to the close of this. We're done with the gameplay and just kind of fielding a few more things. No pun intended. So I hear you got a Kickstarter rolling. I
do, yeah. I will soon. On October 13th, we're launching my game Scythe on Kickstarter. It's a very different game. It's not a worker placement game. It's a 4X game set in an alternate history, 1920s Eastern Europe, and it's about mechs and exploration and farming and production and technology, all the things that you see in a 4X game, but in Europe instead of in outer space like many 4X games.
Now, of course, we've got to get the the actual physical game up and running. Do you think that maybe like down the road you can actually like integrate as a because you have like a huge series on running Kickstarters, right?
I do. Yeah, it's at kickstarterlessons.com. Yeah.
Which is huge for people trying to get into Kickstarters, producing their own stuff. What works, what doesn't. Your experiences through it. I definitely read through some of that. I'm kind of curious, like potentially with Tabletopia as potential stretch goals.
Yeah, well, I love the idea of the stretch goal element, and also even during the campaign, showing because designers can use Tabletopia to play test their game, to put the prototype on here.
Right.
And during the campaign, that's a really neat way for backers to plug in and test out the game in a fairly finished way, but online through Tabletopia, which I think is pretty cool for helping backers decide where to spend their money because there's so many game projects on Kickstarter right now.
Right, we actually have a few other games that are actually in active development right now. They're using the Tabletopia framework to actually do that. Active play testing sessions, and the cool thing is they have the tools to do moderated and gradient access. So like they have developer rights and can edit things on the fly. Let's say something didn't quite work out in testing, but those testers coming in don't have the rights to just screw up your game. Right.
Yeah, that's good to have a little bit of control as the creator.
Awesome. Yeah, and it looks like Sidisov is actually linking in some of your stuff in there in chat, and we'll definitely do that to more stuff like that. And be sure to let us know, especially when Scythe starts to get rolling. We'd definitely love to see that. And hey, maybe someday I'd love to have a 4X game in here to play and curve something. When you said mechs, you already hit a trigger word for me.
Yeah, we have some beautiful mech miniatures that I think would look great in 3D on Tabletopia.
So I'm kind of curious, like, why did you start like with Tabletopia? Like, what got you into like sold through using this as a service over others?
Well, I'm trying to think of is it Andre or Andre?
Mm-hmm. Andre?
Andre, yeah, Andre contacted me and said he was building this platform, and I had my hesitations at first because I didn't know I wanted what I consider a good-looking game to translate well to the online format, and so I was a little hesitant. But then he showed me some examples, and I was just blown away by the quality of it. So it was a pretty quick process after that. I sent him the files, and he took care of it from there, which is really, really nice for me because I have a lot of other things that I have to pay attention to and do.
Right.
And so he and his team implemented it so that I didn't have to, which was awesome.
That is really cool, like a third-party service for implementation for designers. Because, thing is, you're doing everything here. That's why we're only going to have you for so much time. We're actually coming up to the end of our time right here. Just because, and again, thank you so much for joining us here for a whole hour of your time to be able to show off this awesome game.
I've had a great time doing this. This is time well spent. This is
awesome.
I enjoy doing this. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to do it more with you sometime. The cool thing is going forward, this is the demo version, so we don't actually have for the everyone on the finished version that we'll actually be able to save this game state. So if I want my chance at revenge to try to finish this off and see if I can't come from behind, we'll be able to save this in our own virtual game room and come back to it at a later time.
That is really cool.
Well,
you guys
cool.
have thought of everything.
We're trying. We're trying. Unless there's anything else going on, I think I'll just take this time to actually talk more about Tabletopia. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, David.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.